Assalamualaikum. My name is NURJEHA AQILAH binti ROFIZI from class AM228 3B, and today I am going to present tutorial question chapter 5. The first question is, explain the bilateral relationship between Malaysia and other foreign countries. The bilateral relationship between Malaysia and other foreign countries started from May 1969. It happened during the suspension of the parliament where Tun Abdul Razak was considered as the head of government. This is because at that time, Tun Abdul Razak held a position as the Director of Operations of National Operations Council (NOC). Before he became the next Prime Minister, he knew that Malaysia's foreign policy, which was revolving around the pro-Western democracies during Tun Abdul Rahman's premiership, could no longer sustain Malaysia's need. During his premiership, Tun Abdul Razak has proposed Zofan, Zone of Peace, Freedom and Neutrality, as one of the efforts made to neutralize the Southeast Asia and to be unbound from any form of outer interference. He had specified that Southeast Asian nation-states to adapt and practice non-aggression and non-intervention principle based on mutual respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, besides reaching out to ensure harmony and security among themselves. It also involved the major superpower at that time, which were the United States, China and the Soviet Union. Next, Tun Abdul Razak was the first one to recognize China and having a diplomatic relationship with them. The diplomatic relationship was established in May 1974, and China became the first ASEAN country to do so. Tun Abdul Razak had also visited Mao Zedong, who had told him that Malaysian Chinese should be loyal to the country of their adoption, and that guerrilla warfare in the Southeast Asia was an internal matter. Tun Abdul Razak's efforts to establish diplomatic relations with China had opened up important channels in the establishment of other ASEAN countries' diplomatic relations with China. The Philippines and Thailand, for instance, was establishing diplomatic relations with Beijing in July 1975, Singapore and Indonesia in 1990, and Brunei Darussalam in 1991. Tun Abdul Razak also strengthened Malaysia's relationship with the Soviet Union, which would be known as Russia in modern days, with a joint communique in October 1972 as to avoid misunderstanding about his relationship with China. The joint communique was done to call for a principles of peaceful coexistence, full equality, respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, non-interference in internal affairs, and renunciation of use of force. Other than that, under Tun Abdul Razak, Malaysia became to identify itself as a Muslim nation in accordance with its involvement with the Organization of the Islamic Conference (OIC). Even though there was more than one races in the country, he still wanted to establish and recognize Malaysia as a single country. Tun Abdul Razak has sponsored the 5th Islamic Conference of Foreign Ministers and pleaded with Islamic member states in OPEC for economic assistance for those states whose economy had been aggravated by the years or crisis. He also toured Saudi Arabia and several Gulf states to promote Arab investments in development projects and joint stock ventures in Malaysia. In conclusion, Malaysia strives to maintain the bilateral relations with all countries by sustaining a principle of sovereign equality, mutual respect for territorial integrity, non-interference in each other's domestic affairs, peaceful settlement of conflict, as well as mutual interest in relations and peaceful coexistence. Abdul Razak had introduced the Rural Economic Development Rate program to overcome the bureaucratic inactivity in January 1960 and was carried out at district levels. It focused on building infrastructure and institutions in order to provide linkage to the rural economy through provision of employment, which would raising the productivity and income. Each of Malaya's 70 district officers needed to form a rural development community, which is consisting of the district's heads of technical department and its elected representatives to state and federal levels. The community will collect requests from the rural people for facilities such as roads, schools, or community halls. Practical requests were also included, and the community will reject the impractical ones. Requests were also collected from the government department. Then people were asked to make suggestions without reference to financial viability, as it was for information gathering purposes. The first rural development communities began gathering in March, and by June and July of 1960, almost all communities were functioning. All the proposals were then entered into a large book provided by the Ministry of Rural Development, which is known as the Red Book. After that, the proposals were collected and edited by respective state rural development committees. Then the proposals were brought together and edited and included in the ministry's 5-year plan. It was a simple but brilliant method for achieving planning for a developing nation. Other than that is the Green Book program in which it was launched by Tun Abdul Razak in December 1974. The goal of this plan is to increase the production of foods to be sufficient for the needs of the country, as well as to increase the income of the people. The goal is also to make the government officials to be more active in engaging in development efforts. It was also to encourage people to plant and grow their own food crops. It was one of the positive steps to help the public overcome the problems caused by the inflation. In a conclusion, Tun Abdul Razak had introduced both the Red and Green Book programs to help developing the rural areas and to help overcoming the problems which will be caused by inflation.